So at this point, we've gotten pretty familiar with UV mapping. Our next thing is going to be working on our arms. So um, please make sure that you're in your object mode. We are going to be hiding pretty much everything. Yes, if you can do a Q and do a selection. Yeah, select everything with the exception of your left arm. And then we're going to do our Control H. So we just have this guy available to work on. Okay, now the arm is going to be a little bit more complicated as far as like dropping off of our materials on it, especially for the UV mapping part. So we're gonna kind of tackle that challenge now. Okay, so I'm on the arm right now. I'm gonna right click, of course, assign an existing material. We want that UV mapping material on there for sure. As soon as you do that, you're gonna see the illustration of why we have a little bit of work to do when it comes to cleaning up this map. Now, if you could also make sure that you do have your UV editor up, yeah. So I'm gonna kind of bring mine more into screen here, yeah, so I can kind of take a look at it. Again, remember if you don't have it, yeah, Windows Modeling Editor's UV editor. I'm gonna right click here, go into UV mode in my UV editor, just a real quick click and drag, and then drag out my UVs. You'll notice again, this maybe will jog some memories a little bit, but if you remember, we did take these, we did create this arm out of a cube you had to start off with. All right, now we're gonna break this down. It looks like into two main parts. Yeah, so the main parts that we're gonna work with is gonna be above the elbow and then below the elbow. Yeah, so that'll be our two main sections. I'm gonna start off first of all by selecting the faces above the elbow. So I'm gonna jump into my face mode. Yeah, so jump into my face mode. Okay, and I'm gonna start selecting over here. Yeah, so above the elbow. So I'm gonna select the face, hold down the shift key, and then double click on an adjacent face. Yeah, so that way I can get that full ring all the way around. Okay, still holding down the shift key. I'm then gonna go up to the next one, click one time, and then double click on another adjacent face. Yeah, and that'll get me my second row. Yeah, if you can continue this all the way to the top. Yeah, so again, holding down shift, click, double click, click, double click, click, double click, and this will probably be the last one over here. Click, double click. Yeah, that'll get us all of those faces. Yeah. Okay, now you'll notice I am also sort of not catching these ones up here. Yeah, this is just basically the top portion. So the quickest way is if you just individually select them. Yeah, so if you hold on the shift and click on those, there's going to be approximately 16 of them. Our models may have deviated during the tutorial process, which is a thing that happens. Yeah, so if you have more than that, no problem, but yeah, make sure you do a double check on that. All right, now the last thing you're gonna do is like just do a real quick spin around. Make sure you don't have any extra faces that were not selected. I'm definitely picking up one over here. I'm also gonna check underneath, see if I caught any extra faces down there. It looks like I'm okay. It does happen though. By the way, if you ever want to kind of get a better view on this, sometimes the map can get pretty confusing. The material might kind of blend a little too much in with your selections. What you can do is you can go ahead and press the 5 key. Yes, if you press 5, you'll notice you'll get back to just seeing your default material. Yeah, it's easier to kind of pick out like, okay, what's not selected and what is. I'm definitely going to hold down my shift key, get this one, but again, if you can just make sure you get that top section. Yeah, and then once you got all of that, if you want to bring back your texture, easy, just press 6 once again. Yeah, and that should get you what you need. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to map this. Yeah, so our mapping method that we're going to be using is going to be our cylindrical map, just because it's the closest to what an arm looks like. So I'm going to go into my UV menu up here, and then I am also going to go to the cylindrical option. Yeah, so UV and cylindrical. Immediately, right, we're going to get our map showing up here. It is going to do the halfway thing, right, and it's also going to be very angled weird. You see it like it looks very chaotic in our UV editor, but we're going to roll with it. Just like before, right, anytime you're doing a cylindrical map, please make sure you do close it at the back. So the two red rectangles, those should be closed. And then we're going to use our front view and our side view to adjust the angle. Yeah, so I'm going to jump to my side view first. Yeah, And there may be a couple things you have to do here. So if yours looks different than mine, it might be you still have your X-ray on, and you may not see your textures. Yeah, so you may not see the UV mapping material. So if that's the case, if you can go into your shading menu, just make sure that X-ray is not checked. Yeah, so we want that like full on, easier to see. The other thing you want to make sure is if you're seeing something that looks more like this, yeah, just press the 6 key. Yeah, that'll make your texture show up in here. All right, now the main thing that we're gonna do in this view is to make sure that instead of having the cylindrical map go like straight up vertical, it should be more angled, yeah, so it should be more diagonal. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my perspective view. I'm looking for the T. Yeah, remember this lets you kind of rotate things around, so I'm gonna go ahead and find the red T, click on it. Okay, it should turn yellow to let us know we're active. Then I'm gonna go back to the side view. Okay, and then using the overall circle, yeah, I'm just gonna click on that and kind of spin it. And then again, we're just trying to get it so that it is angled kind of at the same angle that you feel like the upper arm is angled at. All right, you're still gonna notice a lot of distortion over here. Although it looks good on this side, we're gonna see why it's doing that in our front view. Yeah, so if you can now jump to your front view, again, we're still in this tool. Yeah, so we're still in our cylindrical map tool. Over here, you may have to do the same thing. Yeah, so if you can just double check, yeah, if it's X-rayed, yeah, shading, take off your X-ray. The other thing is if you don't see your colors in here for your UV mapping texture, go ahead and press 6. That should set you up pretty well in here. Okay, and then we're gonna do a turn. Yeah, so we're gonna actually rotate it so it's diagonal going from upper right to lower left. Yeah, to do that, please go and find the inside circle. Yeah, so we're looking for the one that's right over here. It's going to be originally dark blue, yeah, but it should be the inside one. If you can click and drag that, and then we're just going to turn it so that once again it looks like you're fitting the arm as much as you can within that cylinder. Yeah, so we do want it diagonal, kind of like this. Yeah, so just do your best with this. It's gonna be imperfect, yeah, because the arm is not a perfect cylinder. Yeah, but if you can kind of get that angle. All right, almost there. Okay, the last step that we're gonna do with this cylindrical map is now that we have it kind of aligned correctly, okay, the last thing we're going to do is spin it so that the inside seam, or the seam where the texture kind of closes off over here, is going to be on the inside of the arm. Yeah, and the reason why we do that, of course, is because we want any inseams for textures to be hidden as much as possible, and the part you're least likely to see on your character is going to be the inside of the arm. Yeah, so I'm going to go back and click on my oh sorry, I'm not going to click, but I'm going to locate where my T is over here, and I'm just gonna spin this. Yeah, so I'm gonna spin this originally the green circle. Yeah, so originally the green circle, if you can click on that, and we're going to rotate it, and we're gonna rotate it so that it is right on the inside. Yeah, so something like right about here should be pretty good. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of go with that angle right there. Okay, so again, our inseam is gonna be right about here. Let's see, let me angle it a little bit more, right about here. Yeah, so I'm trying to center it as much as possible. It's not gonna be perfect, not a problem. Yeah, just do your best on this. Yeah, okay. All right, and then that's gonna be our starter texture. It's gonna look wild. Yeah, but we're noticing already, like, this area looks a lot better. This area actually has a little bit more clarity than it used to, but we need to work with that. So that's what we're going to be up to next. So now we're in the UV editor. I am going to go in here and use the move tool. Yeah, so if you can go ahead and press W. Let's drag this out of the way, so we'll move it so that's no longer on directly on the texture. Okay, a couple things we're going to do here is we're going to let Maya do a little bit of cleanup for us before we do any attempts at that. So I'm gonna ask you to, right now we have all of these selected. You can go into your select menu, choose convert selection, and then we are going to choose the 2UV shell option. Yeah, so select convert selection 2UV shell option. Looks like that didn't work. I kind of messed that up. So I'm going to right click, go into UV. I'm just going to select the UV. Yeah, so you can select a bunch over here. Again though, this will work this time. So select convert selection and then choose the UV shell. That should get everybody in there. Okay, and then we're going to attempt to have this look a lot cleaner. So I'm giving myself a little bit more room on screen so you can kind of see it in action. But now that we have all of this set up, I am going to go into my modify menu. Yeah, and we're gonna kind of jump back and forth. I'm right over here gonna start this off by choosing the unfold option. Yeah, so modify unfold. Sorry, it will be off the screen a bit. Maybe if I can move this up, you might be able to see it. So modify, and then we're gonna choose unfold. Yeah, so modify unfold. Okay, and what this should do is kind of give us something that's a little bit more um, coherent. Yeah, so if we take a look over here, now the numbers should look a little bit better. It does get a little wild on the inside, but remember, this is our hidden area anyway. Yeah, you probably won't see this unless like his arm, just like you decide your Lego character's arm needs to be removed. Yeah, which is maybe you will, but I kind of think it might not happen. All right, and so that kind of cleaned things up a bit. You notice there's some stuff that is really important that we can't let stand. Yeah, so it kind of looks like if I go into edge mode here, yeah, and I kind of look at these areas, yeah, over here, it looks like this area is going to need to be connected, yeah, because if not, we can definitely see these parts are not going to blend at all. Yeah, so we're gonna make our attempt to do that. I'm gonna get this edge right here and do a sew. Yeah, so I'm sewing that together. Also, this one's gonna look extreme, but I'm gonna get this edge right here. I will be sewing that together as well. All right, and then you'll see it kind of pop into place here. We're gonna go with this one, it looks like. Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. We'll do a sew over there. Okay, and then we'll do a sew over here. Yeah, now this is really extreme. If you notice, it doesn't look the best ever. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of work my way up here. So and then looks like I have one more. Yeah, I really care about this. As soon as it goes to the inside though, I'm out. It doesn't really matter too much to me anymore. Yeah, so I'm gonna go sew and sew right over there. All right. Okay, so you notice there's a lot of distortion at the top here. We can attempt to clean this up again. So I'm gonna go to my UV menu, UV option, select all of these. We're back to modify. We're back to unfold. Yeah, so click on that. And that should look a lot cleaner. All right, so now that it looks pretty much a little bit stronger. There's just a few more things to kind of work on. Again, we're kind of not too worried about this inside portion. If you want, this is where you would kind of place a seam. So I am going to really quickly kind of break this part off. Yeah, so if you notice, here is our seam, kind of goes up to here, and then it sort of gets like almost stuck right at this point. Because this is in the back area, I'm going to take this part out. So I'm going to go into edge mode. I'm going to click on these two right here and these two right here. Yeah, so those four, a little bit hard to see probably. We can kind of see it on here too. Yeah, this part is like super getting stretched. Yeah, it's also kind of pulling this area of the model. So as for the map, so it's kind of a good place to kind of clean up. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do a cut. Yeah, so again with those four edges, just do a cut. So they're separated out. Again, I can go into UV mode, select all of these, go to modify, and then just do a quick unfold. Okay, and then that'll kind of let us have a lot nicer feel to things, yeah, of that unwrapping. All right, but this is probably going to be pretty good for the arm already. We could keep tweaking, but honestly, I think this layout is pretty solid as is. Now we're going to turn our attention to the bottom half of the arm. Okay, so real easy to do. If you take a look at our UV editor, this is basically that entire bottom half. So if we right click and go into UV mode, we can then click shift drag and select all of those UVs. Because we're going to map, we do want to make sure that this is a that this is all in faces. So I'm going to go into my select menu, go to convert selections, and choose two faces, and that should convert it really nicely. Yeah, super easy to do because we already separated that top arm. We're gonna set it up the same way we did with the upper arms. That means going to your UV menu, going to cylindrical, um, and making sure that the full cylinder closes at the back. Yeah, so make sure you do that. We are also going to check our front and our side views. Yeah, so I'm going to switch our mode. So I'm going to go find my red T over here, click on it, yeah, so that I can activate the rotate. And here, yeah, using that information, I'm going to rotate this so that the cylinder is looking like it's at the same diagonal angle as the arm. Okay, also, then I can kind of jump to the front view. Same thing, yeah, I'll rotate the inside blue circle and kind of rotate that as well. So again, just trying to get that angle as best as possible. Okay, and then let's see. And last but not least, I'm gonna go back to my perspective view, press the T again, yeah, because I want to get back into seeing the full cylinder. And then we're gonna turn this so that it is the seam is facing right about here. Yeah, so that's where we want that seam. I'm gonna click on this line and going over here and rotate it. Yeah, so we can kind of turn it. You'll see the seam kind of follow along. Yeah, so just do your best to get it right at that point. So we want it right about here. It looks like should be good. Yeah, right about there. And I'm just trying to get that white line so that it matches up with the previous the upper arm. Yeah, so that should match up right there. All right, and then that should be the seam. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I'm going to move this out and down in my UV editor. Okay, these two we're going to have to somehow connect it. You'll notice that like the edges definitely do not match up at this point. I will do a quick scale down in my UV editor just so I can kind of get these more squarish. Yeah, but a lot of this will be taken care of when we do um, our our modify and then unfold. Yeah, so that'll be coming up. Anyway, all right, so you got all those pieces. The last thing we're gonna do is kind of disengage this bottom area, because if you notice, like, because it's cylindrical, it does a really good job of going around the arm, but when it gets to the bottom, like, it has nothing like there. Yeah, so we do want to make sure that we separate this out. I'm gonna right click, go into edge mode, and I'm just going to select this entire edge on the bottom. Yeah, so if you can go there, double click on it. Yeah, and that's everything on the bottom over there. We're just going to do a quick cut. Yeah, so we're going to cut that. It's going to be really hard to tell that you're cutting anything because, again, that all dependent kind of on our angle. But I am then going to go to UV, select one of the UVs on this bottom cap, select, convert selection to UV shell. Okay, this is that bottom circle, and then drag this out. It's going to look insane. Yeah, what is that exactly? But I am gonna turn this so that it's kind of, we're looking at it as close to straight on as possible. Yeah, not really caring too much about the angle. We can fix that in the UV editor. But yeah, something like this should work pretty well. I'm then going to, in my UV editor, yeah, all these UVs are still selected. I'm gonna convert that selection, go to select, convert selection to faces. Okay, and then in this view, I'm just gonna do a really quick planar map. Yeah, so UV box text to planar. If you can do a check, the main thing that we want is these three buttons again selected. Yeah, so camera, keep image width, height ratio, and then of course insert projection before deformers. When you do a projection, okay, that should show you your cap over here. This is going to be kind of unrelated. This is going to be the one piece that is just sort of just hanging out by itself. Okay, so we'll leave that one right over here. Yeah, and then just to keep it consistent, maybe we'll have it like going rotated so that it's kind of facing in the same directions as everything else. So I'm going to turn that. This looks like that's the front right here. So yeah, kind of turn it so it's like as vertical as possible. That looks pretty good. Okay, and it looks like we can scale this down. Yeah, and I'm trying to keep the same distance for the individual number squares. All right. Okay, so we're almost there now. We have all of our arm pieces set up. We have our seam kind of matching up over here. Yeah, so that should be where our cut is, but we're gonna find that one out real soon. So this is where things get a little bit complicated. If you notice our two edges, this is the border for the upper arm. This is the border for the lower arm, and basically that's this area right here. So that edge, and if you notice, they do not match up almost at all. Yeah, we got a little bit of a we got a wave over here versus like this is a little bit more just curved. Yeah, so we got to fix that up. First thing I'm going to do here is make sure that I'm in my UV tool. I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to do some scaling. Yeah, so I'm going to press R and just trying to get these numbers and squares to match up in terms of proportion. Yeah, so I'm going to scale it a little bit larger in my UV editor so that it shrinks down in my perspective view. Also gonna shrink this down in my UV editor so that it gets a little bit taller vertically in my perspective view. Something like this looks about right. I'm really kind of concentrating just on here, so maybe a little bit more there, right about there. She looks pretty good. All right, so the next part is gonna be a little odd. If you notice, when I click on an edge over here, it kind of like shows you which edges correspond. Yeah, I'm going to choose one of the edges near the center, and I'm going to sew these two together. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to my cut and sew menu, but I'm going to choose the move and sew option. Yeah, so cut and sew, and then choose move and sew. So you go drop that off over there. And what this does is it connects those two pieces together with the minimal amount of distortion. Yeah, basically it just kind of like had this kind of crash land over here, but the UV shells maintain their original shapes as much as possible. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna continue doing this. So I'm actually gonna kind of sew all the way up through here. So I'm gonna click on an edge, again, cut and sew, move and sew. Yeah. Click on an edge, cut and sew, move and sew. Click on an edge, cut and sew, move and sew. If you don't want to continually have to go to this menu and choose cut and sew, move and sew, what you can do instead is if you click on an edge, because that's your most recent tool, you can also press the G key. So, so do that. Yeah, pressing G, and it'll just continue to it'll just kind of continue to do that same command. Okay, now you may notice there's a lot of stretching that's going to be happening over here, so we're going to have to deal with that next. But the main objective right now is just to make sure that like these seams like are actually connected, which is what we've been doing over here. Now we gotta make sure these are also connecting. Yeah, so I'm in my UV editor, get selecting that. I can go cut, sew, move, and sew, or I can click on it, and now that I'm in move and sew, I can press G, and then G, and then G, and then wow, that was a little weird. G, here's another one, G. Okay, going with this one, G, and then this one. Yeah. Okay, be careful when you're doing this. Sometimes when you click and go G, it's going to try to connect to someplace else. So you notice when I connected this one right here, this is actually going to try to meet up with this guy over here. Yeah, and then you do some weird stuff with your maps. Yeah, once your border edges are no longer on the outside, that's usually a sign that like, oh, okay, well, maybe that's not where you wanted to stitch things together. So I'm gonna press Z and then jump back out on here. All right, so everything should be now stitched. So you see the numbers. You can also see our stress points. Yeah, like this side looks pretty solid, but once we get into the area between the bicep and the forearm, and especially as we get to like the elbow areas and the inside, it's wild. Yeah, so we're definitely gonna kind of clean that up. The way to do that is we're going to kind of jump back and forth between two tools. I'm going to right click, go to UV and select this entirety of the arm. And then we're going to go back to our modified menu, and then we're going to do two things. Yeah, we're going to go and choose our unfold. Yeah, so modify unfold. Okay, so that should clean this up quite a lot. Yeah, in fact, it'll look a lot better all the way through. And then we're going to go modify, and we will choose the optimize option. So modify and optimize. Okay, and that'll also kind of tweak it a little bit. Yeah, now this is something that you can kind of bounce back and forth between a couple times. Yeah, a few times, not even just a couple. So modify and unfold, modify and optimize. Yeah, and that'll kind of bounce you back and forth. I would not do too many of these just because at a certain point, like, it's just law of diminishing returns. Yeah, not much is gonna be changing at a certain point. Yeah, so like right about there, I'm kind of good already. Yeah. Okay, but this will give us a lot better layout. It'll make a lot more sense because yes, we do have this area which is very, very tight in terms of the geometry layout. Yeah, whereas when we get to the back end, these are a lot more open. Yeah, which kind of corresponds with this area right over here. All right, so that should be about it for the arm, believe it or not. The last thing I'm going to do before we start rotating and placing it into our nice little square is scale our cap so that this matches. It's definitely changed in shape because I was matching it up with the lower arm, which has completely had to adjust itself to match up with the upper arm. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna take this piece just for ease of our use. We're gonna have this kind of facing upwards a little bit, so something like this. As far as the cap goes, this one's not too important. You're probably not gonna have to put too much visual information in here, but if you need to, we can kind of just drop this off right here. Okay, and then we're going to move this everything into our square. Okay, and we're ready just about to start our, yeah, there we go. Okay, and then we're about ready to export out and start doing our edits. Yeah. Okay, so same as usual, image, UV snapshot. Make sure that you're saving it to a location that you can find it. I am going to be changing this, so let's see, this should be the left arm. So drop that off and we'll save that one. Okay, everything else should be looking good. The right TIFF 2048 to Y2048. So you can do an apply and close. And then before we get out of here, yeah, I keep forgetting to mention this, but we should go and save our scene. Yeah, so our map works. Okay, but we do have our OutUV. We can kind of jump back into Photoshop. Okay, let me bring that image in so we can kind of find Lego. Dun, 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 dun. Where was it again? Left arm. Oh, I almost missed it. Okay, then we click on open. There it is. Okay, even harder to see than usual. But yeah, remember we have our OutUV layer. Okay, so this part is gonna, again, you folks are very experienced at this now. Okay, so there's our OutUV. Put in our background. Lock up the layer. New layer in between. Oh shoot. Did not lock up my background. There's my new layer in here. You can go with our base color layer. Okay, color wise, oh sorry, I should actually put my my color in the background. Hello. Yeah, so I'll drop that in. Okay, base color layer. Okay, just like before, we'll keep the red. Yeah, so we can kind of work with that. I'm gonna just real quickly use the pen tool to kind of trace this out. Again, remember for this part, if you don't want to, you can just like paintbrush it or whatever. Okay, so but we'll get this going. Okay, so let me just kind of make sure this is all colored the way I wanted to color it. All right, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, yeah, and I'm outside the line, but remember in Photoshop, doesn't really matter. Yeah, the OutUV is just gonna, all it cares about is what's inside. Yeah, so actually that's kind of touching. Yeah, only cares about what's inside. All right, so we got this set up. So that's my base color. I'll lock that layer, maybe make a new layer on top of there. And then I'm gonna just take a look at our guide. Okay, so a couple things, like again, yours is gonna your process obviously is gonna differ than mine. Just kind of looking for where he needs to have his design. Yeah, for my particular Lego. Okay, so pretty much looks like I'm back to black. Yeah, so I'm gonna flip these back to my pen tool probably. And then I'm gonna see if this works the way I want it to. So definitely needs black all the way through here. Okay, so option click, drop on here. So I'm just making my design, yeah. This part again, of course, we're all kind of doing our own thing at this point. Okay, so figure out what you want your design to look like. Okay, maybe about to here. Right, cool. And then I don't need too much else. I could maybe do a band or something, but I kind of like how it's turning out already. So yeah, I can kind of work with this. And then let's see. Yeah, that should be good. All right. So I'm gonna hide my OutUV again, the usual, right? Make sure you save this, so you can come back and make edits. I usually do that like just um, outside of the tutorial, and then so you folks don't have to sit around and wait for even longer. I'm then gonna go file, export, export as. There is my JPEG. I definitely want to create a new one of that. Now I'm on to left arm. So I'm naming that one. Okay, and then really quickly applying it in Maya, and then yeah, we should be just about done. Okay, so I'm gonna make my new material. I'm gonna get my fungi. Okay, get this going. So Deadpool, left arm material. And again, your naming scheme totally will probably differ from mine. Get my color in place. So checkerboard, file folder, left arm, drop that off. Okay, pretty clean. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, so nice and clean. And then let's bring this back. This should look really cool actually now that we have most of our figure in place. Yeah, but I'm gonna jump back to the outliner, bring back everybody. So what was it, Shift H, bring it back. How does it look? I like it. That is cool. Okay, and then I'm just gonna get rid of the other side. Yeah, so remember I have my Lego arm and my Lego arm that is on the right side. I'm actually going to delete that. We will be going and duplicating this. So edit, duplicate special. I'm going to put my scale at -1, and then there's my other arm. Okay, use my perspective, use my front view to just kind of place the arm, yeah, so it's not as oddly located anymore. All right, and then so close to being finished. All I have left is to work on the claw. So that's our last thing that we're going to work on before we get into putting in our joints and everything and having it ready to animate.